All right, in this video, I'm going to show you how I got a 14 times return on ad spend through Google Ads for a pre-purchase car inspections business. I'm going to show you exactly what I did, the strategy behind it, how I made the ads, the landing page, and all the different parts of this so that you can see how this all works and theoretically replicate this for yourself as well. So first, the proof that this actually happened. This is the actual Google Ads account. You can see in here, I have set the date from December 8th, 2020, which was the day we started running these ads, up until June, and I'll explain why till June of this year in a minute. But you can see over that course of over 2 years that they got an actual return on ad spend of 1,421%, which equates to 14.2%. They spent $4,000 and they made $58,000 according to the data in the Google Ads account. Now, theoretically, they potentially made a lot more than this, and I'll show you why in the analytics in a second. But you can see here that this is the actual Google Ads account, and this is not kidding. And I'm going to go into this Google Ads account and I'm going to show you exactly the ads and things like that as well. Now, just to give you further proof, you can see here in the Google Analytics account, same date range. I set it from December 1st, 2020 to up until September, but you can see it drops off. This is when Universal Analytics stopped counting and we switched to GA4. That's why I stopped it in June as well, because we had some tracking issues and the conversions didn't show up in the Google Ads account, but I'm going to cover that in a second. You can see here, if we go down here, they had a total of 690 conversions over that period. And you can see here that it's showing some of them came through paid, some of them came through organic, and most of them were referral. Now it's showing referral because they checkout goes through Stripe, and it's showing Stripe as a referral, so it's actually incorrectly attributing these. There was no SEO on this website. It was purely just the website I set up and then the Google Ads and then whatever it ranked for naturally. I did no other SEO other than what I said on the website. So just to give you an idea, if they had 690 checkouts, let's pull up a calculator, times 159, which is what the booking costs when people actually finish that checkout, they would have made $109,000 over that period. So that's what they would have made from the return on these ads. Now, if we go into the GA4 account, you can see here it's set to July 1st up until 27th of September, which is today. So this is that period that was not showing in the Google Ads. What I'll do is I'll actually show you what that would look like. You'll see it'll just drop off because the conversions were not tracking correctly. I've now fixed that, but you can see here in the end, if we take a look at conversions, you can see conversions died off, and that's because it stopped tracking it correctly. However, if we go into the GA4, you can see here it still shows 63 checkout completed conversions. So it's still rolling and it still is getting conversions. It's just that the Google Ads wasn't attributing it correctly, but now I've resolved that. So how did I actually do this? So this is the website that it goes to, that the ads go to. Basically, this business is a mobile pre-purchase car inspection business. So the very first point I want to show you about this is that you need to sell something that people are actually looking for and it's in demand. So no matter how good your funnel is, how good your ads are, things like that, if you're trying to sell them something that they don't want or they're not looking for on Google, or they're just not a very high chance they're actually going to buy it, you're going to struggle. So the very first thing is you're going to need something that people actually want to buy. And that's kind of the core of any business, but it's an important point to make note of. So the basic premise of what I did here was I made campaigns. You can see here, I tested out several different campaigns, but basically this is the one that's been running for most of the time and spent the most money. You can see it's had 359 conversions, 353, sorry. And if we click into that, I'll show you what that looks like. So basically I did what I show you in the Google Ads videos I have. So if you have not watched my Google Ads videos, I have a whole series on them. I'll put a link in the description below. Go and watch those. I'll show you basically how to set up exactly this. But you can see here over the course of 2 years, this thing has been running and I'll show you the conversions, getting conversions. So basically what I did is, this was actually a very simple campaign. I didn't have to segment it into too many different ad groups and things like that. And the reason why is because we targeted a very specific thing with very high intent keywords. So if we click on this ad group here, I'm going to show you the keywords. So you can see here that I used a mix of phrase and broad match basically as a test to see what would happen and allow it to do its thing. And I just searched up the keywords at a very high intent. So when someone goes on Google and types in pre-purchase vehicle inspection, they are looking for a pre-purchase vehicle inspection. that couldn't be anything else. The search intent of that keyword is that. You could argue that some people will look what is a pre-purchase inspection, but obviously they're interested in the thing, and that's a very small percentage of people, especially if they're searching like mobile pre-purchase inspection. So this is why this worked so well, is because these keywords are very high intent. And I want to make that a key point here. If you focus on high intent keywords, you're going to get a higher likelihood of them being profitable. If we focused on things like what to look for when buying a car or other vague keywords like that, what you would find is that the conversion rate would be a lot lower and the return would be a lot less. So you need to focus on that. So you can see here the keywords that we used, that we tested out. You can also see here on the right the conversion rate of these keywords. Now bear in mind, this is conversion rate on the actual checkout itself, not contacting them. This means somebody has literally completed the checkout, paid $159 from this keyword to get there. And so you can see here the average cost of these is like $13. This is how you get that return, the 14 times return. You can see this is $13, $9, $13, $8, $10, so on, right? So obviously you could filter these even more. For instance, we could stop these, which are a little bit more expensive, and just run the ones that are 10 and so on. Now, there's obviously a debate there of will you get enough volume and things like that. So obviously you have to keep that in mind as well. For now, we're happy with how this is running. The guy who's a friend of mine whose business this is, he's happy with how it is. So we're just leaving it running because it's just working well. Now, let's go into, I'll go into the negative keywords quickly. You can see here over time, this is the thing I talk about going into the search. And here, if you go into the search terms, you can go through here and you can start filtering out all the ones that are not actually relevant. So over time, you're going to show up all of the ones that are not relevant, like different areas that are not correct and things like that. You would want to go through and you would want to filter these out. I show how to do that in my video about setting up a Google Ads campaign. I'll put a link up above. Go and watch that if you're trying to do this. I explain to you all of these things in there. But what I'm basically just showing you is how I have, let me see if it'll show me the excluded. You can see the added ones. Yeah, a couple of I've excluded here. Check if a car is stolen. Obviously, that's not appropriate. Full car service, that's not appropriate. Motorcycle wasn't appropriate. So I added all those things. What I also did, and this is what I was going to show you just before, is I went into the negative keywords and you can see I started adding keywords that were not relevant. So for instance, Christchurch is a city that he doesn't service. So I added that. Hamilton, another city, New Plymouth, Palmerston North, blah, blah, blah. These are all different cities in New Zealand that he doesn't service. And so I just excluded those so that we wouldn't be paying for ads to show for the wrong location that would never book within anyway. So that's what the negative keywords looks like. Now let's go into the ads themselves. Basically, these are very simple ads. And what I did is I made a couple of variations. So what I always recommend you do, and I show you this in my other videos as well, I make ads with only 3 headlines and 2 descriptions in each of the ads. And then I pin them to 1, 2, and 3, and the descriptions to 1 and to 2, so that they show up the way I want them to show up. And so what happens there is Google isn't doing its responsive search ad nonsense, which sometimes works, sometimes doesn't. I can dictate exactly how this ad shows. And what that allows me to do is put the keyword in the headline, which is what gets people's attention and gets them to click. And you can also put it in the way you want it. For instance, I tested the price on this one being in the second headline. Then on this one, I tested the price at the beginning. Then I tested this one again on the second, but I changed up a few things here. I changed up like the third headline. You can see other variations that didn't perform as well that I actually paused over time when the other ones were performing better. And basically how I made that judgment call so that you understand this process is I took a look at the cost per conversion, because ultimately that is the thing that matters. The cost per conversion is like the final number really with what you want to pay attention to. And I looked at the ones that weren't performing as well. So $29 and $19, you can see that they were more expensive than the $11 and the $17. So I actually paused them. Now, looking at this data now, you can see here that this one actually got $10, which is actually better than 2 of the ones running now. So we should probably actually put this one back on. And you know what? I will actually put it on now on this video and let this run again and see how now it performs against the 3 that we have, and just see if that will drop it down. And if that works, then I'm going to pause the one with $17 to bring the cost down. And so that's how you bring the cost down over time, because you can see at the beginning, the average was between 19, 29, and potentially 10, but now it's the average between 11, 17, and 10, which is way less in terms of the average cost per conversion. So that brings that cost down, which obviously brings your profit up. I'm just going to go into the assets quickly as well, so you can see the assets that we added here. I just may have added a couple of site links and things like that. Yeah, you can see here we added a couple of site links to go straight to booking, to call. We added some call outs here. We added the phone number as well because people do actually call them. You can see here that people do actually click the phone number as well. So you can add these and they just help. There's obviously more you can add here. We haven't because this has been performing really well. And that is a lesson in itself, honestly. Sometimes you don't have to add every single thing. It's good practice too. But a lot of the time you'll find that the campaign just performs really, really well. And in those instances, it's honestly a lot of the time just best to just leave it as it is, because sometimes you can mess with things and then it actually ruins it. So a lot of the time just leave it if it's running well, which it has been in this case. Obviously I've been testing out a few things here and there, but it's been running very well, just being simple, and it's because of doing the basics correctly, targeting the right keywords, making the ads correct, and so on. So that's basically it on the ads side. And basically the key thing to note there is that the ads job is simply just to get people to click the ad and land on the website. And then on the website, you want them to do the selling. This is so important, yet so many people miss on the Google ads, is that they don't do the landing page. I don't understand why, but the ads job is just to get people to click to land on the website. And then the website is supposed to do most of the heavy lifting to actually sell them what you're trying to sell them. So keep that in mind if you're doing your own ads account. You basically have to do the landing page. So now I'll show you the landing page that I did for this one, because that is really what's made this work so well. So there's two landing pages that I've tested out, okay? One is this one, and you can go to this website if you want to check it out for yourself, trafalgarinspections.nz. You can see the URL up there. This is the home page, and then if you click this one, this is the second version we are testing out as well, just to see which one performs best, okay? I'll walk you through my thought process on doing both the landing pages. So if you watch my video on high converting landing pages, I show you why I make the format of this landing page. I'm going to put a link to that video above. Basically, I use that format here as I do with most of them. What I did is I made a headline that, first of all, both of these have an image that's it's related to what the person is searching for. So in this case, it's got an engine. However, I feel that this one's actually more appropriate. It's more obvious to do with inspecting a car. So you want it to be visually on point with what you're sending them to. So if it's a car inspection, you want them to see a thing that makes them know immediately that they're on the right thing. You don't want a picture of flowers or a mountain or a car on a racetrack even, because it's got nothing to do with pre-purchase inspections. The visuals of the website need to be congruent with what it is that you're actually selling, so that people know and don't get confused and think they're on the wrong website. Second point, you've got the headline up here. Both of them, I've obviously tested different headlines, but you can see that both of them have mobile pre-purchased used car inspection and vehicle buying report in Auckland. It tells them what it is, it tells them where it is, and then it specifies mobile so that they know it's mobile as well, because that's a key thing people search. You can see it in the keywords. Same thing here. This is a slightly simpler headline, but you do have it. Mobile pre-purchase inspections in Auckland. It's exactly what it is and where it is. Big letters, they know exactly, okay, these are the exact keywords that I searched. They were in the ad. They're now in the main headline that I see as soon as I land on the page. There's no mixing up the fact that they're in the right place. So now what's going to happen is people will keep reading because they know for sure that they're on the right page. Now, next thing on the page, big red button that they cannot miss for book your inspection. And this is very important. It's got a clear CTA, call to action. That's what CTA stands for. And it's only one. You cannot have enough of these, but they should only get them to do one thing. What that means is this only takes them to book an inspection. I don't have buttons going to other pages or anything else. It's just book the inspection. That's all I want them to do. So that's the only button I have. And the button is a bright color that stands out, that nothing else is this color. Okay, there's a couple of details. Obviously it matches. But if you scroll down the page here, you can see there's no other buttons or anything else that's this color. And that's a key point. You need to make that clear, because if you have multiple buttons doing different things, all the same color, it's just confusing and people don't know which one you want them to click. So make sure that you have that. Make sure you have one clear CTA. You can see that here as well. If we scroll down, you have a button there. You have a button in the headline. Have a button in the headline so people can find it straight away. You can scroll down. There's another button. And then there's another button here as well. You can't have too many of these buttons throughout the page. You want to make sure that people never have to hunt for it. I would actually argue that I should insert this button a few more times on this page, and I probably will after this video. However, most of the ads are actually running to this page because I think this one is better. But Have the clear CTA. Next point. The content addresses the problems of what the people are looking for and how we solve them. So make sure you don't buy a lemon, get the car inspected. Buying a lemon, for those of you if you're unfamiliar with that term, basically means a car that breaks down in your mouth. And a car that breaks down. The reason I started laughing is I read leave a sour taste in your mouth. I was going to say breaks down in your mouth. Anyway, a lemon means a car that breaks down a lot, like it's unreliable and it's got issues, okay? So what's happening here is this content, if you read through it, go on the website, read through it. Basically, I'm addressing the problems that people have of why they're searching for a pre-purchase car inspection and the issues they can have along with that. So if you take a look here, first of all, I address the fact of why they should get one, because it can break down and leave them with spending more of their time and money repairing it just after they bought the car. This is a common fear held by most people. And then I go down. How do you prevent this? Well, what you do is you want to get a good quality vehicle, but how do you know that it's a good quality vehicle? Well, you need to get it thoroughly inspected and investigate all aspects of the car. But now here you have the problem. What if you don't know how to do that? Okay, well, that's where we come in. They're qualified mechanics who fix cars and vehicles on a daily basis, so they have the knowledge to truly tell you what condition your car is in. However, it addresses two other points. One, you can see here, if you book an inspection with us, you can be sure that the car is going to get through a very vigorous inspection. They're going to check everything and they're not going to overlook anything, because that's obviously one problem. And the other problem is honest reports. What you have with a lot of other times is that you have people who are not independent and they will inspect the car for a particular dealer or somebody the person knows. Like the person will know that inspector and bring it to them. They'll do a good report even though the car is actually not good. And so we are obviously address that as well. Independent inspectors, we mentioned that. We addressed all the pain points of what you can have with having a car inspected. How long is it going to take? What's the process? You see 48 hours turnaround time, book online, so on. And then we have how it works. So this tells them exactly how it works and like what they get, right? So we explain, once we've found the car you're interested in, you want to get inspected, all you have to do is book the inspection button, fill out the details, make the payment. We will then contact the seller to arrange a time, go out, inspect the car, and send you the full comprehensive report so you know what you're looking at buying. It explains the entire process for them up front so they don't have to ask, what if this, what if that? They don't know what's going on. Because anytime you leave people unsure, they will not buy because they're unsure. And some of them may contact you to ask, but a lot of them won't, they'll just leave. So the more of these uncertainties you can eliminate on the page without them even having to ask it, the more likely you're going to get actual people buying from you. So that's the whole point of that here. Now we also include what's included in the actual check. And again, we include every aspect of it so they know what's included, answer any potential questions. Do you check the engine? Do you check under the car? Do you check inside? You know, this is all here, all the potential questions they could ask. Then, next potential question, what area do you service? We service the whole Auckland area, and we've got a map to show them what that actually is. So visually, people from Auckland know what Auckland is. It's a familiar site. So now they know, okay, it's familiar. This is Auckland. They service the whole Auckland area. There's no question about that. Now we know exactly whether we're in the area or not and whether they can help us. Now, what's the last question? Okay, are these guys for real? You know, what do other customers have to say? Well, we showed proof with customers, reviews, and the reviews are from Google, because the more you can make the reviews real, the more likely people are to actually believe them. So it's one thing to have reviews on your website that you've written there that may or may not be real, because, I mean, let's be honest, anyone can just type in a testimonial on their own website, no proof that it's real or not. But having them on Google, first of all, Google is a reputable brand and a logo that people visually see and then they trust more. And then second of all, it's harder to fake Google reviews, especially these days. Yes, you can argue, you can still do it, whatever. But the simple fact is, if you have a lot of good 5-star reviews on Google, it definitely makes you look good and more trustworthy, and it's harder to fake. So what we've done here is we've put a feed of Google reviews for them. And you can see here, they got 18 reviews, 5 stars, which is pretty good. And that shows that here so people know, okay, people have actually used this company. They're happy with the service. Some of these reviews are pretty comprehensive. Look at this one that actually talks about what happened. So they're more believable. And these are all real reviews. That makes it address the last point, which is, can I actually trust these people with money? So the fact is that, we've answered all these things. We've ticked off all the questions they might have, any doubts they might have, or anything else. Now, they can get in contact if they want to before they book. And some people do actually call them just before they book. But a lot of people just book straight through the website, as you've seen from the ads. And the reason why is because like I've explained in this video. We've addressed all the questions. We've addressed any doubts. We've shown them proof that they do offer a good service. We've explained what the process is. So basically, you've eliminated any possibility of somebody who doesn't know what they're doing being behind this, because it addresses everything so well. It's like they have to be knowing what they're doing in order to explain all these things on this page, if that makes sense. And so it's basically demonstrating professionalism and the fact that they're actually capable by having all this information on there. So basically, that's what you need to do. That's why this page works so well, because it addresses all these concerns and everything else, as well as the search intent and what they're looking for exactly. And it just gives it to them, makes the buying decision super easy. And all they need to do is click this button. Then there's a form on the next page, which they fill out with the vehicle details. And then it goes to Stripe and they just check out. Like it's a pretty smooth process all throughout as well. So we've eliminated as much friction as possible, made it super easy. They can do it all here online. There's no messing about. And so you can see here, tells them the price. You've got the form here, just fill out that form, pay with Stripe, and then check out, and that's it. So that's the breakdown of this. I hope you found that useful. This is exactly what you can do to get a really good return on Google Ads. You just need to make sure that you've addressed all of these points correctly with whatever it is that you're selling. And using this sort of framework, you can basically sell almost anything, whether it's product, whether it's services, whatever the case may be. I've used it for all of these things, and it works really, really well. So I hope that you got some insight from this video and seen what the potential is when you get this right. I've got a bunch of other Google Ads videos, including how to set up your entire campaign. If you want to go check those out, there'll be a link below this video as well to that, so you can go watch that. Otherwise, feel free to post anything in the comments if you want my help, and I will actually respond to your comments and help you out as best I can. So, like I said, hope you guys enjoyed that one. Catch you on the next one.